यद्दहंकारम आश्रित्य न योत्स्य इति मन्यसे मिथ्येष व्यवसायस्ते प्रकृतिम त्वाम नियोक्ष्यसि. Hello friends, this is the 59th shlok of the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and today we will understand this shlok in detail. So let's first go over its meaning. So the shlok says, Yadhankaram ashritya, which means if on relying on egoism, na yotsya iti manyase, which means you will think that I will not fight. Mithyesha vyavasayaste, which means by this false behaviors of yours, prakritis tvam niyokshyasi, which means your nature will engage you. So, continuing on the thought of the previous shlok, Shri Krishna is now telling Arjun that if relying on your egoism you will say that I will not fight, then this will be a false behavior of yours, and nature will eventually force you to go against this behavior. So in the previous shlok we understood that a foolish person tries to go against Maya, while the wise person surrenders to Maya, and by such a surrender the wise person attains ultimate peace, while the foolish person he will lose to Maya no matter what, because Maya is all powerful. So this surrender that a wise does is definitely the way which we should take, but the problem is that this surrender is easier said than done. This letting go of the ego is extremely difficult, and therefore we find it very hard to really surrender to Maya. Now, why does this happen is something that we have to understand, that why is it that this surrender of ego is so difficult. So let's understand this from a real life situation. So let's say that you are driving on the road with your family, and someone rashly drives and cuts your way. So in this situation, that person's behavior actually put your life and the life of your loved ones in jeopardy. So it's pretty natural for someone to feel anger about it, and this is especially the case for those who have not yet developed spiritually to the level wherein they see themselves to be present in all beings and all beings to be present in themselves, and the Lord to be that one who is present in all and also present in me. So the person who has not developed this universal attitude of seeing the one supreme Lord to be present in all will feel anger in this situation, because he will not be able to see that even this act was performed by the Lord. He will say that, oh, this act was performed by some random person and he is a stupid guy who has not really developed discipline in his mind, and his mind is not indisciplined, and so he is behaving in such a stupid way, and that person by that behavior put me and my family in jeopardy. So it's pretty natural for a person who has not developed the right point of view of looking at this world, that all actions are being performed by the Lord. So such a person will feel anger. Now let's say that by his own willpower that person suppresses his anger and does not really express it. Then basically what will happen is he'll say that, oh, I am such a good person, despite such a stupid, bad, ugly behavior of others, I controlled my anger. That is what such a person will think. What this person will fail to realize is that the controlling of his anger is also a thought that arose in his mind. So the anger first arose in his mind, and the controlling of that anger was also a thought that arose in his mind. So basically he did not really control his anger. His anger was controlled by Maya, because in the previous shlok we have understood that all the thoughts in our mind are sent to us by Maya. Therefore that thought of controlling your anger was also sent to that person by Maya, and so it was not him who controlled that anger, it was Maya that did it for him. All he did was he used his willpower to basically take that thought and go against his nature. The nature in him is to get angry, but the thought of controlling the Maya, controlling the anger came to him, and he attached to that controlling, and he basically controlled his anger, and now he is thinking that, I have controlled the anger. So here you can see that the ego identification of I did this is something which basically he magnified in himself. So this is the problem, that even when we do good behavior, or even when I mean in any kind of a behavior, if we get this idea in our head that I did this, then what we are doing is we are basically strengthening the ego idea, and this is the problem. When we do this, then we are going against the power of the Lord, we are going against Maya, and she becomes a monster for us. This monstrosity arises because God will always use Maya to crush our ego. And when we build our ego and we say, oh, look, I am such a good person that I controlled my anger, then that Maya will go against us, and the Lord will send us more and more situations where we might become angry. And when we are using this willpower to control our anger, eventually we will give in, because our willpower is limited, and so eventually anger will arise in us. And when that anger will arise in us, we'll feel, oh, I am a bad person because anger arose in me. So this conflict arises in us, and this conflict is what leads to all the problem. This conflict makes us miserable. First we were thinking, oh, I'm such a good person, I did not get angry. And then when we become angry, we say, oh, I'm such a bad person that I got angry. So Maya crushes us in this way, it crushes our ego. So this is exactly what Sri Krishna is saying over here, that by being identified by your ego, if you say, I will not fight, then eventually Maya will force you to do it. It will force you to go and fight. If Arjun retreats from this war and says, oh, I am such a good person, I retreated from this war, I take care of all my loved ones, I did not fight against my loved ones, then eventually Maya will create a situation for Arjun wherein he will be forced to fight, because the function of Maya is to crush our ego. It is the power of the Lord, and Lord uses it to crush our ego, so that we can then get rid of our ego and move towards the Lord. But if instead of doing that, if we just keep bolstering our ego by saying, oh, I am such a good person, I did this, I did that, somebody cut my way off while driving a car, but I did not really get angry on him, I controlled my anger, and I am such a good person, then we are bolstering our ego, and eventually Maya will go against us. Eventually it will force us to go against that and give in to our nature. So we should not try to suppress our nature. If our nature is such that we are getting angry, then by using our force to control our anger is not going to work. It's not going to work. Now this doesn't mean that we should get angry at all situations. So that will be clarified in subsequent shloks. But first understand that suppressing the emotion that are arising in us does not really work. Those emotions will manifest in some other way. So if a boss gets angry on you and you suppress your anger, you are getting angry in response to that and you suppress your anger, then that anger is going to manifest somewhere else. The anger is going to manifest in becoming angry on some other person somewhere who is not as powerful as your boss. So this controlling of your anger, this suppression of these things, they don't really work. They don't work. That is not the way. And the problem is that most of the religious preachers, they will tell you to suppress. They will tell you to suppress your emotions. So be careful with that. That suppression will not work. This doesn't mean that you have to become angry. There is a way out, and that will be understood in the subsequent few shloks. So just be patient. Just don't leave these teachings over here, because if you take these teachings like this, then they will become a problem for you. You will say, oh, it's okay to become angry, and you will start becoming angry. You will start to not control things. So control is needed, but the control is needed at the right place, and we'll discuss that in the subsequent shlok. So just keep continuing over here. If you stop over here and don't look at the teachings over in the next few shloks, then you will misunderstand the teachings over here. So that was the message of this shlok. I hope that I have understood this shlok well. I have explained this shlok well to you. With that, I'll close this video. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.